This is it, man. And these are some really cool games that I like. So I thought I should make my own one. The first thing we're going to do is add some ground, and we're not going to add grass because we don't do that around here. Then I remembered that they added a new input system and I don't like it, so I'm going to get rid of it.
Bye!
Now there's this really cool prototype pack thingy that I like, but for some reason it wasn't working, so I went onto the asset store and found a new one, and that one seemed to not work, but then I got it working again. So we have this really cool prototype design on the floor. So now we're going to move on and add our player. For now it's just going to be a bean because I think all the animation stuff and all of that is complicated. Now we're going to make a player color material and just chuck it onto him. Now it's time to do some of the scripting and the coding stuff. So the first thing I do is create a script called player movement, and then I add some decoration block thingies to make everything organized, and then I add this package called Cinemachine because that's going to be useful for the camera. Then we go ahead and add a few more like objects and random stuff and rearrange it so we can give our player some spectacles. And we move on to these weird Cinemachine components and assign all of the values that is needed for it to work. And after we run it, he has like a heart attack or something, so he just falls down. So we fix that by checking 2 boxes and then it works fine. But it's not that smooth, so after we adjust a few of the values and spend some time playing around with it, we get a result that looks kind of like this, and it's a bit better than it was before. Still kind of trash though. So I mess around with it a bit more and then I've got it looking how I want, so I go ahead and create a third-person camera script. So we add the variables that we need, not variables, the references that we need, and then we just kind of kill the start method. And then we go and do some maths and calculation stuff and some complicated stuff. Then we go and grab this lovely script and throw it onto the camera. And now all we need to do is assign the variables and all the references and stuff. So now we see that script thingy makes it so that the cursor disappears, and then when you use the move buttons, it turns you in the direction that you're moving. Now we're going to open up the player movement script and we're just going to add the variables needed for the player movement. I'm going to do all of the input handling and stuff. We see that our guy is moving like a penguin on ice. So to fix this, we're going to add some ground check variables and add some drag stuff so that we can make sure that the player is not slipping around. And now we see that he walks around like a normal human being. Or human being, if you catch my drift. So now we go ahead and add some speed limitations. And now he's walking around a bit too considerately, but we're going to ignore that for now. We're going to move on to adding the jump, and we just go and add the code for that. We then assign the jump cooldown values, the force value, the air multiplier value, and this drag stuff, and press play. Now we see this guy jumps like Superman, which I actually haven't watched yet, but I heard it's a good movie, so I'm just gonna wait until I can pirate it. Then after spending ages and ages adjusting these values and making it so it works nice, I see that my movement is finally finished, and so I move on to the modeling part of this. Now I tried a bunch of things. I looked at free models online. I found this AI thing that apparently makes models from drawings. So obviously I tried to copy his face. I couldn't be bothered with that. Then found this guy on Fiverr, but it was too expensive. So then I decided to download Blender. And after it downloads, I realized I have no clue what's going on. And for some reason my instinct is to delete the cube. So I open up a tutorial on how to create a low poly man, and I just start beginning to follow it. I create a torso, and then I create some legs. I create some arms, create a neck, I create a head, and create some hands and some feet. Then we have to go ahead and add some bones to the player. Then we add this thing called a UV map, which I think that's like a light ray or something. And then we go and paint the character so that it looks more like the Ip Man guy from the movie. That's all for now, so make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.